Hello again, everybody. This is Sebastian Keynes with another video on Watch Our Realms. Okay, so in this presentation, I wanted to talk to you about the heroes that are shining in this content here in the Forerunners Server and who you should keep an eye out for when they are introduced in the global server. I'm going to start out with the mages because they are the key. They are the key to unlock this dungeon. They are the ones that are going to provide you the AoE damage that you're going to need to bring down all those sycophants that are coming at you, and they're coming at you fast. And so I have to start out with the queen, Birna. Birna is going to excel in this dungeon. She has her AoE damage that comes from the ultimate, and if you set her up correctly, you are going to get the damage necessary to bring down all those waves of sycophants coming at you. And then if you don't completely bring them down, she has her dot in her basic attack that will allow you to at least make sure that there's some damage being done as long as your defender can hold up the waves. Second, and I have seen some people use them depending also on whether they have the lore to associate it with, and that is Komet. There are some comps that are utilizing him. Of course, he does have AoE damage in his ultimate. We know that he can hit hard. He can also deal damage with his basic to up to 2 enemies. We'll take that, especially when we're talking about a wave as the ones that are coming at us. But also keep in mind that his rage does take a while to load up again, so you are going to have to build him with rage regeneration. But he is also one of the good mages that is really picking up steam when it comes to this content. The other one that I cannot leave out, because he does have very good damage in his ultimate, he provides burning, and he does have AoE damage in his basic, is Ajax. You can affiliate him with any lord. Those that build them correctly are doing enough damage to make sure that the sycophants are brought down. For those of you that want to play the anti-heal angle, which I recommend, because these sycophants can heal for hundreds of thousands at one time when they're doing damage. So A1 Laseer is going to be integral for this, especially in the later stages, because they do get a little bit more healing from Volka. Volka's passive, the boss is passive, so he is also going to be one that shines in this content. He has AoE damage, and he can actually do some decent damage. So Laseer is going to be key, and the reason that I say A1 is because if you do have an A1 Laseer, you're going to get more damage out of him. So besides Birna, Komet, and Laseer, along with Ajax, is Demi. We know Demi is a lord, so you can acquire her with your ancient crystals. She has that slow, but they're immune to CC, so it doesn't really come into play. But she does have an anti-heal in her ultimate, and of course that is one of the things that we are in need for in this dungeon. So if you have her, you have one key piece to try to beat this content. Not only that, she will also boost your Virna, because she's part of the cultist faction. While the legendaries are definitely shining in this content, especially those from the cultist faction, there is one in particular that people have been utilizing to slow down the sycophants, and that is Ian. Ian also has a lord bonus to her, so if you don't have Demi or you don't have Morrigan, you can certainly bring her into the battle along with Virna, and she will actually be very capable at trying to help you bring down the sycophants. Not only is not due to damage in particular, but the one thing that we're looking for in her is her gravitational pull. So she will attract the sycophants, congregate them, and keep them in place while your main mage is doing the damage that you need to bring down the sycophants. And she will also give you vulnerability to magic damage that will come in integral when you're trying to bring down all of these waves that are coming at you. When it comes to the healers, there's no question that those that provide rage are going to be key in this battle. I've seen people use Elowen, so she's going to be key in this, and also Hollow, especially if you want to make sure that those mages that need their rage up as soon as possible, that they can provide that for them. You could bring in Laya. Laya doesn't really have an extended range like Hollow, but you can certainly give her a try. I've seen mostly Elowen and Hollow being preferred for this regard when it comes to rage. If you're looking for a boost, don't forget that Dolores can do that for us, and I've seen people try to set up the bottom portion of the map with Dolores and just have the one mage that they are going to need. But here is the one hero that is really shining in this content. It's partly because it's also a cultist, but it's Artemis. Those that have access to the test server have already been releasing content, I believe. For those that are in the just playing in the global server, so you can view those videos. But he is one of the few healers that does AoE damage, and not only that, but he also applies anti-healing. So I have seen compositions where he is built for damage. He will heal your composition. He will heal your tank or a fighter if you're using it, but his main purpose there is for him to do some damage and for him to apply that anti-healing that is needed in this dungeon. For marksman, this is not going to be the dungeon. There is one in particular actually that I think it can be used and will work because he does magic damage, and that is Pelagius. Yeah, I have him in my account and actually been using him to try to conquer stage 4 in this version of the gear dungeon, and a lot of it has to do with his AoE damage, and also that he provides this vortex that will, you know, pull in the sycophants, and then that at least will give us some time for our mages to bring down any of the leftover sycophants that he does not take down. So he is somebody that you could play with if you have him in your account and have been lucky enough to summon him. For the defenders, there's no doubt that if you have a lore defender, use them. I have seen people use Gon. I have people seen use Cyrus. King Hars is also somebody that is coming big into this content. So if you have those heroes, use them. They're very good in that regard. Now, the more easily accessible defenders that you may want to use, if you do have them, I'm gonna have to give a shout out to Procure, because he is just a brick when it comes to this, and he will give you he'll afford you some opportunity in case the sycophants start getting past you and they start doing some damage. I know that Crodor has been announced as a fusion, an upcoming fusion into the global server, so you are definitely want to try to get him if at all possible. A lot of that has to do with his ultimate, because not only will his defense increase, but you will also get 2 additional blocks. So those 15 seconds could come in integrally if you need them, especially for your mage to bring out any leftover or just bring down as much of the wave as possible before the next one comes at you. Another defender that I'm playing around with, and that he is doing well because he does do some damage. He does AoE damage, and he actually can roll, so he will extend 1 tile and do 1 damage, and he also has damage reduction in his kit, and that is Trusk. I have no idea if he's coming to the global server, but when he does, if he's being released around the same time that the announced gear dungeon is going to be released, then you may want to keep an eye on him and see if you can go for it. But I would say that if you have a chance at Crodor, that would be the avenue to go to if you need them. As for other defenders, notable mentions, I would say that Regulus is doing a great job in this content as well. People are relying on him. He can actually sustain, and remember, he will give you some opportunity. He will protect you, number one, especially if you're using a fighter or you have a mage right next to you. But then remember that he also has this kind of invulnerability, where if he does get 1 fatal hit, he will restore some of his HP. So just keep that in mind. He will come in handy if you have him in your account. Don't ignore him. He's a very good defender for this. The other one that people are using, especially if you are low spender or don't have a wide array of defenders yet into your account, is Baron. And Baron, of course, has that extra shield. He has the unyielding. He can give you a little bit of an opportunity to sustain the battle if you need it, especially in holding off the Sycophants. Last and not least is actually the fighters. Now, for the fighters, there are very few that are coming into play, but there are a couple that people are utilizing, and they're finding them to be effective. The first one I'm going to cover has not been introduced yet to the global server. She might be coming around soon, but the reason that people are using her is because they like the fact that she has a multi-target attack and she is also multi-strike. Her ultimate can do a lot of damage. I've seen a lot of compositions here in the Forerunners server, especially when it comes to AoE arena. That's where she's being utilized. She also has the damage increase, penetration increase that she gives the allies in range. So she is a preferred fighter that people try to bring into this battle. And her basic attack also has AoE damage up to 5 enemies in the range. So you can see how beneficial it is for her to come into play when it comes to clearing this dungeon. And of course, one of the benefits that we have with her is that she's a cultist. So if you're bringing in Ian, you're bringing in Vienna, you're bringing in Morgan, she'll fit in right in with that composition, and you can bring her along with all the other cultists that you have in your account. And then last but not least is one of my favorite heroes in the game. She really has seen a little bit of a value surge lately, especially with GBG as well, and that is Volka. Volka, not only because she has that long range, she can be used on top, try to get those Sycophants as they are waiting there to come rushing at you, especially if you have her at A1 and then get that increase in range. You can start doing damage to them before they start coming at you. And then if your tank gets into trouble, she has that revive. She can bring down that tank. The healer can then pick up the slack if needed, and you have another opportunity to make sure that you bring them down as quickly as possible. So there you have it. That is an overview of the heroes that are going to help you clear the Volka version of the gear dungeon when it is released in the global server. And if you don't have some of them and you see a 10x coming up for them, it may be worth chasing after them just to see if you can get the opportunity to stack your account and have heroes that are going to help you clear this content. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in and watching. Remember to hit like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next Watcher of Realms video.
Defeat won't define me.